poems. I'm going to read right now 2 poems to start us off. And I'm dedicating those 2 poems, short poems, to a great figure, a great Nigerian figure, a jurist, legalist, a leader, a royal figure, a leader of men and women, a role model, one of the most tolerant, ecumenically spirited individuals that this nation has ever produced. And his name, I believe you all know him, you should. His name is Sulu-Gambari, who is the emir of Ilorin. So I dedicated to him in appreciation of his role, his leadership model, his exemplary quality, virtue of tolerance to his subjects, his fellow beings generally. I'd like to commend him, to recommend him to all of you here, and in fact all the world, as an example to follow in your dealings with your fellow men, women, and children. In fact, you should go further. Go further, possibly even outstrip him, because you see virtues like tolerance, which, an example of which I have cited, virtues like that lead eventually even to martyrdom, to immolation of the innocent. It leads to the public butchery of our children, like Deborah, for instance. The kind of example, the kind of virtue I'm talking about leads to turning even our fellow school children, our fellow children into murderers, murdering their own colleague at a tender age. They become killers simply because of examples of tolerance, of leadership shown by figures, by the emir, Sulu-Gambari. We know people like Sulu-Gambari, Boko Haram, ISWAP, Al-Shabaab, all those who believe that theirs and only theirs is the only way of understanding and approaching Godhead. And heaven help all those who cannot follow the path they are blazing so openly, so lovingly, the rest of humanity. And when some of us, of course, try to highlight their conduct to make sure that the whole world appreciates them, they turn to us, they're so modest. They say we should, that their lands do not require any special burnishing. The action speaks for themselves, and therefore we should go and sit down and mind our poetry, perhaps. And as humanists, we continue to do our duty, to bring them out to the limelight. If we will go even further, we'll invite them to visit other places. If necessary, we'll organize even their expenditure, even give them ESTA code, to bring them to other areas, other societies which practice the same religion that they say they are promoting in this society, so they can see how others of the same faith treat other human beings of other faiths. And I'm talking about those societies like the Emirates, where this religion began in the first place, before it became very messy in countries like Nigeria, where literally every day somebody is being butchered, is being martyred, is being disfigured, simply because they prefer their own path to the unspiritual fulfillment. Today, we're here in the home of the muses. Could be in Greece, where the muses are supposed to be involved, but we know that we have our own muses here. And wherever 2 or 3 poets are gathered together, there becomes the home of the muses. And I'm using our presence, our collective presence and creative energy in this place to make 3 requests. Chibok girls, the Dapchi, the individual, Mrs. Oluwatosin Akaluka, who was beheaded, he said, put on a pole so many years ago, all being forgotten constantly and the same crime being repeated. This section is dedicated to all of them. Thank you very much. Of all the security agencies of this country and of the governance itself, right from the president to the lowest individual in this country, are 3 requests to make, demands in fact, to make on behalf of humanity. 1, all the case files must be opened and all those who've been killed as a result of intolerance. I don't care whether they were said to have abused this avatar or this prophet or not. The important thing is that they have been extrajudicially murdered. And time again, these files disappear. The students who butchered, who killed in public, in open daylight, in the presence of armed police, the students who were arrested have been released. Understand that the police, some police commander made a comment that they are not expected to go and manufacture accused or the criminal perpetrators. Imagine that kind of language coming from those who are supposed to protect us in this country. Something was done there. Films were made. The students who chased that girl into what you considered safety, they're known. Some of them were arrested, and then they were freed. And we say that we're living in a civilized society where royal heads like Sulu-Gambari can insist that those who happen not to believe in his own pathway, our own traditional ways of worshipping any deity, whatever, of our choosing. If you don't believe in those deities, that's your problem. Follow yours. Nobody has disturbed you. Nobody has come over and said, come and join us. No. Some people say, we believe in giving honor to the goddess Oshun. And we have a festival called Isese. I want to celebrate that festival. Just what is your goddamn business to prevent them simply because you're sitting on a throne? And yet, they get away with it. Time and time again, they get away with it. I think it is about time to speak truth to one another. Not just to governments, not people just to government, but to people. It's about time that we move to proactivity rather than reacting. Reacting when insults have been heaped on our heritage. When our roots have been insulted, desecrated. In one of my comments, I mentioned the fact that I teach a few weeks at a time in one of the Islamic countries. Go there and see how non-Muslims are treated. They're treated as human beings, as equals, entitled to all the benefits of society. Go to the supermarkets. You'll find that behind the main shopping center, the same structure, there's a place there which is reserved for non-Muslims, where you can go and buy whatever you want, eat pork to your heart's content, stuff yourself, and go home. And there are liquor stores there. You can go and buy your drinks, nobody disturbs you, just don't get drunk on the streets. And there you see the other side of that society. And yet here you have motor drivers, laborers earning a pittance, being set upon and burned to death simply because they're driving a lorry full of beer. Is anybody forcing beer down your throat? The man is earning his living and is catering to those of us who say, yes, we're ready to be damned to hell for drinking beer or wine or whatever. That's our business. You go there, as you come out of the airport, right in the open there's a supermarket. Right, as you come out of the airport, right within the airport, where you can buy your drinks. All these hypocrites and liars, trying to pretend that lifestyles are not pertinent to groups, to individuals, and they should be left alone to enjoy their lifestyles, as long as they do not disturb the peace of others. 3 requests. I made one. The files should be open, beginning with Deborah, and all those who are being killed extrajudicially in the name of religion. 2, I want all of us to have connections anywhere in the world. In fact, beginning here, address the diplomats and so on. You know, they assist the world by denying visas to violent politicians, right? It happened during the last elections. They even named them and said, we're not going to give visas to this. That's what we're not going to give. All those who bring violence in politics, we will not give them visas. We say extend it to religious bigots. Extend this to those who preach and who applaud violence in the name of religion. Let's tackle the embassies. Tell your governments, they assist us. These people, they live here, these hypocrites, they go to these other places, they drink to their heart's content, debauch themselves anyhow, then they come here in the name of piety. They can restrict our own lifestyles, our own choices. 3, it's about time we demanded, on behalf of traditional religions, annual holiday like Islam and Christianity. We've had enough. We've had enough of being second-class citizens in this nation. So, equal time, equal space, we demand public holidays. We demand it of state governments, local governments, and the federal government. We want an annual public holiday. Those are my 3 demands in this home of the Muses.